right. Good morning. What's up? We're back. Another live stream between Matt and Andrew. Sorry we missed yesterday. That was my fault. My schedule didn't allow it. I actually had a pretty good day. I went hiking in the morning, and then one of my friends here in Colorado is a huge Ravens fan, so we went to a Ravens bar.
Nice.
So just to enjoy someone else being happy for a change, I got to root for another Birds team, which is always fun. And I was on the Ravens spread, so that was nice. But yeah, so we're back. 2 more games today. Just to do a quick recap, because honestly, I just don't know, so I'm curious. How did yesterday end up going for you?
It went okay. I think I got a couple decent ones, couple misses on the first game. If I'm remembering correctly, I got Lamar Jackson over on rushing yards, which I tweeted out along with your retweet of your video. I think I had that Lamar Jackson over, was it 50.5 rush? I mean,
50.5, yeah.
Yeah, he killed it. I mean, I forget.
He had 100. He had 100, yeah.
He crushed it. So
yeah,
that was good. It was a little bit crappy that they were ball dominant like I expected, but I thought, I didn't know it was going to be that one-sided and that the Houston side was going to be that inept against the pressure. And I think I missed Isaiah Likely by about 2 yards. I think I took him over 34.5 maybe, or 35.5, and he ended up with like 34 exactly on the dots. I think I missed it literally by like 2 yards or something like that, or 1.5 yards, whatever it is. But so I whiffed on that. In the second game, what was it now? I think I got easily got the CMC. It looked dire at first, but that long run at the end of the first half helped, where McCaffrey went over his rushing, just his plain old rushing, at over 89.5 yards. So that went well. I couldn't get the special home, which was annoying because I think I had like who was it? I had Nico Collins to get like 30
in each half.
Yeah, passing yards in each half, parlayed with another game special in the second game, but it was already dead by the time.
Right.
Nico got it in the first half, but couldn't get in the second. So yeah, so it got screwed anyway. But yeah, so on some of the straight props, though, I think I went 2 out of 3 on the straight props. So
yeah, that's good. Yesterday was kind of a tough. I had some tough beats. Like I was on Gus Edwards anytime touchdown and Lamar Vulture 2. Not Vulture, that's the wrong word, but Lamar took 2 rushing. And then yesterday I had McCaffrey 100 plus rushing yards. He had 98. And I had Debo anytime touchdown, and he got hurt in the first quarter, and that was toast. So a little bit of bad luck yesterday, but
yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully today we can have a better day. First game on tap, 1 p.m. Actually, I think that's wrong. I think it's 1 p.m. my time, 3 p.m. Eastern, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, it's 3 Eastern, I think. Yep.
Yeah, so it's 1 p.m. Mountain Time. My apologies. But yeah, Bucs Lions. We'll start with the main lines. It's kind of interesting. Basically, every book has this as Lions -6. But if you like the Bucs, FanDuel is offering them at 6.5 at -115, which isn't a terrible amount of juice. And then if you like the Lions, you can get them at -5.5 at -113 at SportTrade. SportTrade's only available in Colorado and New Jersey, so it depends on obviously your state. But yeah, everywhere else it's basically +/-6. So over under pretty universally at 49.5. So in terms of main lines, what do you like for this one?
Oh man, this is tough. To me, I'm not gonna lie. Most of my plays for this game are on player props, and I have plenty of them. So I'm just torn, man. To me, this isn't like no man's land. If this were, closer to like 4.5, 3.5, I would go Lions. I think Lions are going to win this game. So I think the Lions are being, kind of disrespected, kind of in the public right now in terms of who's going to win. I think everyone's riding on this Baker Mayfield high, and I love Baker Mayfield. He's exciting and fun to watch, but it's a large number. And all these games, as we've seen, have been, minus the Ravens one, these have been pretty tight games. I mean, the Packers basically gave away, literally gave away a game, right?
That was one of the most I mean, I don't have that. Like, I've been rooting for the Packers. I was hoping they would win just because I don't like the 49ers.
Sure.
And like between the missed field goal and the dropped interceptions, like they got inside the 49ers 25-yard line 6 times. And the 49ers got in there once and they lost. It was a
49ers are fortunate to be moving on. That's all I can say.
I know. And then someone compared Brock Purdy to Joe Montana. It's like the dude couldn't throw the ball. He was terrible.
Yeah.
So like what? Just because he has a little bit of rain, he can't throw. So yeah, that was frustrating. But
anyways, yeah. I'm not. So I don't have anything on the main market for the spread. But if I were to lean, I would lean Bucs 6.5, just because that's a large number. I think in a game where I think the Bucs are going to be able to move the ball. Basically, I think. Look. The Lions have a above average, run D. But here's the thing, right? We talked about this before, so I'm not going to believe it. The Bucs aren't going to run the ball. They're not going to run the ball. So, so it'll be interesting. It doesn't even matter that the Bucs are going to come in one dimensional because they're just like, this is who we are, and they're just going to keep feeding Evans and Godwin, especially on the edges, and that's where the Lions are not great when it comes to their secondary defense. I think if you look at, like, I don't know how much people like looking at PFF stuff and all those great. I mean, I don't put like a ton of stock in all that stuff necessarily, but they're not rated very highly, when you're running these deep balls. So I think Baker's going to air them out. I think it's going to come down to, can he actually connect? And we saw they were just out of rhythm and out of cadence, where Evans, I mean, there were so many deep balls they could have had last
some drops. Yeah.
some drops, but maybe they can connect this time against, these corners and safeties that are not so hot, really. So I don't know. I do think there's going to be points. So on the total, I do like the over, actually. So I would go over 49.5. That I feel better about than the spread. So I would go over 49.5. I'm not so confident, but if you want to lean, I would go Bucs 6.5, just because that's a large number in my opinion. So
sure. Yeah. So I did lock in. I put a full unit on the Lions -5.5. I would still honestly take them at -6, to be honest with you. I really think that the Lions are going to win pretty easily in this one. My only concern is that, and I don't think this is going to happen, that like they blew their load last week, winning their first playoff game at home, that they just that they can't quite get it up for this one. I don't see that happening. I know I use a lot of innuendos there between blowing their load and not being able to get it up, but
yeah, no, the Lions are going to get it up. They're going to win this one. I would be shocked if the Lions don't take this dub at least. So
yeah, and I really think I think the Bucs are being overvalued because of their performance last week. Granted, I will admit, I thought that about the Packers too, and that ended up being wrong. So I could be wrong on both accounts. But like the Eagles, we talked about, they've been one of the worst teams in the NFL for the past 7 weeks leading into that game against the Bucs. And the Bucs just beat the crap out of them. So props to them for taking care of business. But that was at home against the Eagles team that had clearly just was ready to go to Cancun and end the season. Now they're getting a Lions team that is just significantly better. B, now the Lions are at home where they are also significantly better.
Yeah,
and the Bucs are not as good. Besides the fact that the Lions passing defense is weak, the Lions just match up pretty well against the Bucs. Like they can pressure the quarterback between Aiden Hutchinson and then their other guy, Joseph, I think is his name. And Baker, he's been better pressured recently, but that's generally the MO on him was he makes a lot of mistakes when he is pressured. And then Goff, A, is much better at home, and B, is horrible when he's pressured, and the Bucs can't pressure the quarterback. Like they don't have the pass rush that they did back when they won the Super Bowl. So I am very confident in the Lions -5.5. I agree with you that I would lean towards the over. I don't have a play on that, and I probably won't end up touching it because maybe I don't know. I mean, the Baker was great last week, but how did they play against the Panthers 2 weeks ago? You know what I mean? Like he was terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just banged up, but that game was just as important against a Panthers team that's ready to go home. So I'm kind of I was all on the Bucs last week. I'm kind of the opposite this week. So I kind of like maybe the Lions team total. I might like more than just the straight up total, but I don't have anything on that. And I'm not going to give anything out, but if I had to give out a lean, it would be the over, but I really do like the Lions, and I would still take them at -6.
Yeah, if I could get that, I don't have access to Sporttrade. If you gave me 5.5, I would take Lions 5.5. So I like that number. So if you have access to that, I would take that because I am confident the Lions are going to win. I think just like Matt, I think they're balanced up and down. They're just a better balanced team. The Bucs, I think Baker is going to be able to air it out. I just don't know how much of those yards are going to be garbage yards versus meaningful yards, but he's going to get some yards today. So I don't know. I mean, I think the Lions should handle business at home. If they don't, man, it's going to be disappointing for that city and that fan base. So,
it sure would. If you lose to the freaking Bucs, and Baker Mayfield, all right, we can move on. Player props. What do you have? Player props, touchdown, non-touchdown, whatever you got.
Yeah. I got a few, and I feel pretty good about these. So, and I have a wide selection. So some of these are probably obvious, like main player ones, and then I'm looking for some value with some value, not stud players. So, I do like I said, I do like Baker Mayfield, regardless of game script. If you're going to win, you are going to have to win through the air. If you're losing to the Lions, which I think is what's going to happen, this should aid this prop and you should be playing from behind and airing it out even more so. So I do like 2 different Baker Mayfield props. I like just the passing yards over 260.5, and that's like a 5-yard discount that you can get at other lines. So you can find, I bet this earlier today, not that much prior to our stream. So it should still be a Baker Mayfield over 260.5 passing yards at ESPN bet. Minus 115. So I took that. It's about 5 yards shy of all the other ones. I'll take a 5-yard discount on a guy who's just going to air it. He hasn't been clearing this quite a bit, but I think this is a situation where he's going to either air it out to win or air it out to catch up. Over 35.5 pass attempts. Now that's the best place I could find that was on FanDuel, minus 114. I like the yards better than the pass attempts. Just because I do think there will be some deep ball connections, which require, you're going to get chunk plays, in my opinion, on the edges. So I put a unit on over 260.5, and I put half a unit on the pass attempts. But I like both. I like Baker just to be passing a lot today. Now, very quickly, the other non-QB player props that are non-TD. I like Godwin. Over 63.5 yards on FanDuel, minus 110. It might have moved up a yard since the stream started, but I don't hate it at 64.5 if that's where it is, but I took it at 63.5 this morning. Reason is, again, referring to some of those rankings of the secondary. That's where the lines are leaky. The lines are going to be leaky, on the edges, with their secondary, and so I think Godwin's going to find a lot of opportunities. We got lucky last time with his touchdown. This time I'm not on his TD. I'm just looking for him to rack up yards, whether meaningful or garbage. So I like Godwin. We saw that Baker is willing to spread the love. So I'm looking for a low yardage value play. Trey Palmer, over 17.5 yards. Just 17.5.
He woke up feeling angry today, and every time he wakes up angry, he scores a touchdown. So.
I know. So minus 110 for a measly 17.5 yards. I mean, it's one of those boomer bust plays. This could be egg on my face. He's going to end up with 0, but he got like 56, 10, 84, 42. So, I mean, look, he's there, and Baker is just throwing to everybody. He's just like, if I see you during my scramble, I'm just throwing the ball in your general vicinity. Hopefully you catch it for me. I think Trey Palmer's going to get his shot. So over 17.5, that's like 1 pass, maybe 2 passes. So give me that. K. Dotton had a breakout game. I don't think the books have adjusted the line enough. He's going to get more attention, so I'm not going to go nuts, but K. Dotton over 29.5 yards. Caesars minus 104. I don't know. He dropped probably as many as he caught. I was so frustrated texting Matt. I'm like, am I going to get this? Because he's dropped 3 now, but he dropped 3, but caught 4 or 5.
And he dropped a touchdown too.
And he dropped a touchdown. I know. But give me one more time. I mean, he's been consistent. He's been one of the most consistent targets. So give me Otten over 29.5 yards, minus 104 at Caesars. And finally, I do have one TD play, just one. Not going to go crazy today. K. Dotton TD plus 400 at PointsBet. Plus 400. This morning, I was about to bet it. I took a shower. I'm like, damn, I should have bet it before I took the shower because it's 375. I saw it move down to 350, and then randomly on PointsBet, it went the other direction, and it went up to 400. I don't know if it's still there, but K. Dotton, as of maybe an hour and a half ago when I took a shower, was plus 400 on PointsBet. So that's my one TD play for this game.
Sure. Looks like a lot of people, not a lot, a couple people in the comments are on K. Dotton. Looks like Reek. Wonder if he's based that after the Game of Thrones. His name is escaping me. Theon Greyjoy, nicknamed Reek. He's on K. Dotton touchdown, and looks like Mayweather 36.5. I wonder if that's like a pumped up number, because his main line receiving yards is, like you said, 29.5, and that's current. I'm looking at that now on OddsJam. It's best offer, like you said, Caesars minus 104. Maybe if some book is offering you plus money for 36.5, I don't think it's terrible. I worry about K. Dotton because he hadn't done anything for weeks, and then he blew up last week against the Eagles. So it seems like a lot of people saw that last week and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna hammer him." But the way you beat the Eagles is up the middle of the field, so it's not quite the same matchup. Even though you can pass on the Lions, it's not necessarily up the middle of the field and taking advantage of their linebackers like you do against the Eagles. My play, I like backing Jahmyr Gibbs, both receiving yards and anytime touchdown. My favorite play is him to score a touchdown, mostly just because the value. Like
Mhm.
ESPN Bet had this at plus 115 when I checked this morning. I don't know if it's still there, if that moved, but when I was betting this, it was at plus 115 this morning, and FanDuel had that at minus 125. DraftKings at minus 130. Like the only book that was close was Caesars at plus 100.
Yeah, it looks like you got good value because on ESPN Bet it already shifted down to 100 to mirror Caesars. So Caesars and ESPN Bet they're both at 100 still. Yeah.
I don't like it as much at plus 100. I still like it though. And I don't really understand why it's even plus money. Like it was minus money last week. He scored, and now we're getting better odds this week. And what I think is a better matchup specifically for Jahmyr Gibbs, because you can't run on the Bucs up the middle. Like I don't think it's going to be a David Montgomery game. Yeah. But that's not how you use Jahmyr Gibbs. You split him out, you get him in space to take advantage of being space, how electric of a player he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's like Montgomery's going to get the high leverage carries inside the 5.
Sure.
But everything outside of that, I think, is Jahmyr Gibbs territory. And he's more efficient with his carries in the red zone than Montgomery is. Granted, Montgomery, again, when you get carries inside the 5, generally those aren't efficient carries because the teams are stacking the box. Yeah. So it's not exactly fair, but
sure.
Like
no, but to your point, when you get into that intermediate zone, right, of the red zone, like the more like from 5 to 15 yards
exactly.
out, I think that's where you're going to see Gibbs, give him a screen, get 2 blockers ahead of him,
exactly.
have Laporta, whoever block, and you just hope that he's going to find space in a seam somewhere to run it in, and that's what you're hoping for, right? I mean, it's in that intermediate zone there, not that 5-yard goal line kind of carry. So
yeah, exactly. And Jahmyr Gibbs, he's just been on fire. Like he didn't score in the first 4 games for the Lions when everybody was mad at them for not using him. Since then, he scored in 9 of 12. He scored in 5 of 6 games, and he had like in his past 5 games, he has a total of 6 touchdowns because he has multiple games with 2. So in this matchup, again, you can't run on the Bucs. So I think it's going to be a Gibbs game in general. So I also like his receiving yards. It's 25. You can get that at 25 plus receiving yards at plus 104. This is not something where you're going to look at his season and say, oh, he's cleared this number a lot.
Yeah.
Like he hit it last week against the Rams.
Yeah.
Prior to that, he had missed it in like 7 straight games. So to me, this is more of like fading recent results type of play. Yeah. And just a matchup play as well. Like you can't run on the Bucs up the middle because of Vita Vea. You get players out in space, and that's where they're vulnerable. And they're vulnerable through the air.
Ooh, let's see. He's offered at 22.5 at FanDuel right now.
Yeah, so that's the main line. If you take him at 25, I think it's plus 104.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So if you want to get plus money for the extra 3 yards. Like I also really like Amon-Ra in this game, but his props are so nuked. Like his yards are so high, his receptions are at like 7.5.
Yeah.
It's just tough for that. So, and then the last thing I have, and before I get to some of the comments, is I don't have a lot that I liked on the Bucs side because Evans, especially for touchdown, there's no value there. Like he's best offered at plus 106 at Sports Trade, plus 105 at Flip. Like, any better odds than that for Mike Evans, who everybody was on last week and didn't score.
Yeah.
One thing I did do, and I only put a quarter unit on it, was I parlayed both quarterbacks to throw for 300 yards.
I don't hate it.
Plus 5. I got it 5 plus 521 odds on FanDuel. It's basically everything we said. Both these run defenses are awesome. Both these pass defenses can be had. And I think both teams are going to have to throw the ball a lot. So small quarter unit play here. Someone asked me about Monty rushing yards under. I thought about that. But I think that the number's like 57.5, I guess, is higher than I thought, which you can get at both Sport Trade and at Bet Rivers. Everywhere else is at 56.5. I might honestly take that on Sport Trade because they actually let me get a decent amount of money. And 57 against this Bucs team, I think I could see him not getting that because of how good the rush defense is.
Yeah.
So yeah, someone asking about a Mike Evans bounce back game. In theory, yeah, I just don't think you're getting any value there. And same thing, exactly what Reek said. He's like a good bet to score independent of odds, but because of the odds, I don't think it's worth touching. Cade, is much better value if he continues what he did last week. Right. Anything left in this game? Or are you ready to move on?
No, I'm ready. This is the game I was most excited for today. Even though on face value, you're like Mahomes, Josh Allen, all the blah, blah, blah. But, I don't know. I'm worried this one could be a grind. I'm worried this is going to be a grind and the other game might be an air raid game. So
yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like Baker Mayfield versus Jared Goff has a higher total than Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. And it's not even like before we get into
Uh,
our thoughts, it's like the weather in this one is mostly manageable.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not going to be as cold as the Chiefs game last week. It's not going to be super windy. It's a little bit windy, but it's not going to be anything crazy. It's going to be manageable, which is how Roto Grinders described it. It's going to be like the Bills game last week, which was fine. So in terms of main lines, it's mostly at pretty much everywhere is Bills -2.5, but there is a +3 on the Chiefs side at -115 at DraftKings, which isn't terrible. They're the only book last I checked that is giving you anything at that +3 number, although it looks like they already changed that, so maybe not. But yeah, in terms of spreads, or main lines, total spread, money line, whatever. What do you like in this one?
I locked this in earlier, so it's not fair, but like just for transparency, I locked in. It was a positive EV play, and that's why I locked it in. I saw a positive EV alert early in the week using software, and then so I did lock in Chiefs -1 at +150 on ESPN Bet.
That's pretty good.
I thought it was clever back then, but now like just Chiefs money line, you don't even need like a spread. Like Chiefs money line is like +130, I think, on ESPN Bet. So so if you're here today, I would say, look, I'm on the Chiefs to barely cover or barely eke out a victory. So I'm just going to go for the bigger dog money. So I mean, I'm on Chiefs -1 at +150 more for the value. But like I would say, if you're here today, I'm going to lean Chiefs money line, or if you want to take Chiefs to cover. But I'm on the Chiefs basically. And then in terms of the other main market, I'm on the under 45.5 for various reasons. I think again, I'm not even factoring the weather. I think the weather is manageable and fine actually. I just think it's the way that these two teams are set up right now. On the Bills side, you don't have Gabe Davis, not that he was a world beater, but it takes away a threat and it takes away some of your schemes. Stephon Diggs, I mean, he really is limited. I mean, he just does not look like himself. So you have a banged up Diggs. You have, no Gabe Davis to stretch the field as a threat, at least. So you're going to have a limited Diggs. You're going to throw some shots in the middle, which, you're going to get some to Knox or Kincaid. Someone's going to have to step up. I think they're going to run a lot. I think in their minds, like running is going to be their recipe for success. Running the ball, running it down their throats, keeping Mahomes off the field as much as possible. Kansas City, as much as their defense overall has been receiving accolades, like not like world beaters when it comes to stopping a run in all honesty. So I think they are going to move the ball running wise, but that translates to a lot of clock killing. Now on the Chiefs side, I still don't know if they've really figured out what to do on offense in terms of the passing game, and Kelsey looks like a shell of himself still. But I just think head to head, I can only see the Bills winning by just dominating the trenches and running nonstop this game. And I think that Kansas has the running ability. So that has been consistent with Pacheco, but it's just Mahomes. I think he'll figure out to work some magic with his legs to extend plays, find somebody to pass to, whether it's Watson or someone's going to step up. But I think they have enough with Mahomes' magical arm. Like they just have a slight edge, and the Bills are just so depleted on defense. That's the concern on the Bills side. So I'm kind of commenting on both in a Venn diagram. That's why I'm like barely giving an edge to the Chiefs, barely. And that's why I'm going to take a shot for some value on their money. But I do like the under for all of the above. I think there's going to be a lot of clock draining drives, and the Bills are so limited minus just running it today. I think that's what's going to feed into the under. And watch, now they're going to score 60 in the first half,
Yeah.
but under, and I'm going to go with the Chiefs, basically. That's what I have on the main lines.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I've gone back and forth. Like at the beginning of the week, the Bills at -2.5 was a positive expected value play, which I locked in on in a video early this week. Then the injuries, like I thought they were going to get healthier. And they're getting some guys back, but then they're also losing guys that got hurt last week. Like they're down 2 linebackers from last week, and then they're getting some guys back. So it's going to be, it's going to be tough sledding for the Bills defense. But then on the Chiefs side, like I wouldn't touch the Chiefs unless you're getting that 3 number, that +3, which is gone. I checked DraftKings; it's no longer available. Yeah. So if I had to give out a pick at the current odds, I think I would just take the Chiefs money line. I think I'll just take them to win straight up. And again, I know that's opposite of what I gave out in a video last week. So, but things change over the course of the week. That was plus EV then. It's not now.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time trusting Josh Allen against a good defense like the Chiefs. Granted, the Chiefs defense, they don't force as many turnovers on the road as they do at home. To me, what I kind of get the same vibes as what happened to the Bills last year. They won their first playoff game against the Dolphins, but they didn't look that great in doing so. It wasn't that impressive of a victory. Yeah. Then the following week, they had the Bengals at home, like the Bills were at home, and they just got trounced. Like they just got annihilated by the Bengals last year. Granted, the Chiefs, it's not the same Chiefs number, but I was not the same Chiefs team, is what I meant to say. But like I was not impressed, even though the Bills won and covered last week. The Steelers moved the ball with relative ease in the second half last week. Yeah. After that Josh Allen incredible rushing touchdown, the offense didn't do much for the Chiefs or for the Bills. And I just have a hard time trusting Josh Allen. He could play a game like he did, whatever that was 2 years ago, where he's perfect and he throws like 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. And it's like the best game you've ever seen. But more often than not, it's the disappointing Josh Allen, like he was against the Dolphins, where he turned it over 4 times, 2 in the red zone. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So if I had to give out a play at this current moment in time, it would be the Chiefs money line. I know that goes in opposite with what I said earlier. And then I'm in agreement with you on the under. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think both offenses are going to struggle. And I think the Chiefs, if they are able to take advantage of the Bills' injuries on defense, it's going to be Kelsey finally having a good game on like short, intermediate stuff, just dinking and dunking it down the field. And I really like this for a Pacheco game as well.
Sure.
Now while we get into some player props, someone was mentioning Hardman touchdown. If the guy just finishes his routes, he would have scored like 3 touchdowns last week. He gave up on 2 routes last week, where the ball would have been right in his hands. And so if he can catch the ball and he can finish a route, yeah. And then I also do like the Sherfield angle. With Gabe Davis out, with Stephon Diggs being disappointing and getting the L'Jarius Sneed treatment, Sherfield is like a pretty decent weapon. So I kind of like that angle.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. You got to find some value here. So
yeah. So anyways, in terms of player props, what do you got?
This is my favorite prop of all the props today, beyond even the ones I know I rambled a bunch. This game, I don't have many, but this is my favorite. And for all the reasons I said earlier, so I'm not going to belabor it. Josh Allen over 42.5 rushing yards, just trying to win this, taking it on his shoulders, saying, I don't have Gabe Davis. I got a hobbled Stephon Diggs. Yes, I'm going to pass to Kincaid, maybe Knox here and there, and someone else who's going to step up. But otherwise, for the majority of the game, I just think there's such limited options for him right now that he's going to have to run. It's going to be him and Cook. I'm just hoping he decides I'm going to take the carries more than Cook, and he'll have enough of a threat with the shell of Diggs to spread the field a little bit and give him some openings to just rush up the middle. So I love Josh Allen over 42.5 rushing yards. So I'm going to put 1.5 units on that. So I'm going to try to win 150 profit on that. For me, a unit is 100. So I'm going to try to win 150. So that's at minus 120 on ESPN bet. So over 42.5 rushing yards, Josh Allen. That is my favorite prop of not just this game, but all of today. So
of the day.
I love it. Of the day. I love it. And then to go along with that, 2 more. I'll get this out of the way. I know it's juiced, but again, in my head, if the Bills have any shot, they're just going to keep bulldozing and doing what they've been doing. So Josh Allen touchdown. Wish it was plus money, but it's not. So you just drink the juice, minus 105 on Caesars. So I took that, and just a tiny, I would say 0.2. So 0.2 units, 1/5 of a unit on 2 TDs at plus 550. So the TD is minus 105 at Caesars, 2 TDs plus 550 at FanDuel or DraftKings. So that's my Josh Allen stuff. And my final one, this is all I got, so I just get mine over with. Dalton Kincaid, over 38.5 yards on ESPN bet. That's where it was earlier today at minus 110, I believe. So Dalton Kincaid over 38.5. I just, yes, I know Knox got a pass. I think he got a TD. I can't remember at this point, but Kincaid's just been, he's tight end number one. I mean, he's the one getting more volume. He's the one that's going to run more routes. So give me Kincaid as one of the few reliable options for Josh Allen. Tight ends have been getting, close to 50 yards if scrimmage of passing yards against the Chiefs per game. So then you can argue, well, is that going to be split between Knox and Kincaid? Yeah, maybe, but Kincaid gets more volume. So I'm just going to roll with Kincaid over 38.5 receiving yards. And then the Josh Allen props that I mentioned earlier. That's all I got for this game in terms of player props. So
sure. So if you like Kincaid, what do you think about him for touchdown at plus 250?
Oh, that's good, actually.
250 is pretty good.
Yeah, I was looking earlier. I could have sworn I saw it lower than that. I think that's why I stayed away. So I don't know if it fluctuated a bit. 250 where? Where is it at 250?
Yeah, let me check. I have Odds Jam up now. Dalton Kincaid is he's plus 290 at FanDuel.
Oh, well, even I'll take 290. I didn't want to touch it in that like flat 200 range. I could have sworn I saw him at like 200 or something earlier, but
290 I think is really good.
I'll take two. Okay.
To talk about the odds, FanDuel's at 290. The next closest books are ESPN Bet and MGM at 250. Caesars has 240. And then everywhere else is like between 220 and 230. So
yeah, I glanced. I think I saw him in the 220 range. Maybe I didn't look hard enough, but yeah, okay.
That's pretty good. I wish that I always have a hard time calculating how impactful the gap is between the books because they don't offer a no option. So you don't know what the what the no vig line is. You know what I mean? It's tough to really talk about the value for touchdowns. I know I do it. It's just hard to quantify it.
ESPN Bet, right? Don't they offer an option with like not to score? Or?
Yeah, they're the only one though. So unless you use them,
they're the only one. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, unless you use them for no big odds, like if you use them as the sharp book, but
yeah, they're not a sharp book though.
No, they're not. All right, I'm going to put a half unit on Kincaid. I like that.
Yeah, thank you for that pointing that out for us to line shop a little more. So
yeah, and then another question, Allen passing under. I actually did look at this. It's at 227.5. It's such a low number that if I had to give out a prediction, I would take the under. And to be fair, like FanDuel prices that at 227.5 at minus 110 towards the under. Every other book has it at 225.5. Granted, like a 2-yard difference isn't massive when numbers are in the 200s, but there is some value there on FanDuel. And I did see this. DraftKings is boosting Josh Allen to plus 125. I think you can get like $10. I think the max is 10, but that's still from an EV perspective, that's great.
That's good. I would take that just for whatever, even if it's a tiny $10 limit or something. Why not? I mean, just max out your limits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyways, in terms of my official picks, my favorite play for this one, it's Isaiah Pacheco anytime touchdown. I know it's like I'm going chalk running back anytime touchdowns, but it's plus 115 at FanDuel. It's the same thing. It's like, I don't understand why we're getting plus 115 odds for Pacheco to score. It was minus money last week and he scored, or maybe it was exactly plus 100, but it was not plus 115. That I am confident in.
Yeah.
And he scored a touchdown in 4 straight games. It's like the Chiefs know that they can't pass the ball. Even Kelsey, either he's getting quadruple teamed or just hasn't been as good.
Yeah.
Can't trust any of their receivers aside from Rashee Rice, but he's still a rookie. And he might get more of the attention from the defense. And Pacheco's just been like their best offensive player, which is crazy to say. And now that he's healthy and with McKinnon injured, there's just no other running back that the Chiefs trust. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is terrible. They try to limit their usage of him. And Pacheco leads the team in red zone carries with 42. The next closest running back has 7. Inside the 5-yard line, he's got 9 carries for 5 touchdowns. The next closest running back only has 2 carries. And they do these shovel passes. Those not always go to Pacheco, but the Chiefs always try to be creative in the red zone. But a lot of times it's just like drop back or hand the ball off to Pacheco and let him score. So I like him anytime touchdown. I also like his rushing total as well. It's at 60.5, and I thought it was going to be a lot higher than this number. He's gone over this in 5 of his last 7 games. And the Bills defense has, as the year has gone on, like they started off really good. Then they had a lull when they were dealing with injuries. The second half of the year, Bills pass defense has been awesome. Granted, they're banged up now. So the team that they had during that good run is not the same team that they're fielding today. But what's consistently been an issue for them is their rush defense. The rush defense has been really bad over the second half of the year. And the Chiefs, like I said, they realized we don't have any receivers. Our best weapon on offense is Pacheco.
Yeah.
So they've been leaning on him a lot, and he's been rewarding them. And they're not going to try and like be cheeky in the playoffs. Like he had a good game last week against the Dolphins. I think he's going to have another good game for this one. So I put a unit on both of them, or sorry, both of his touchdown and his rushing yards.
Okay. I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, another rushing yard one that I like, that I haven't taken yet is James Cook. His is at 61.5 minus 110 on FanDuel. It's the same thing. Like they've just been leaning on their rushing game a lot more too, and Cook's been awesome. He had a good game against the Chiefs last time out. He had 10 carries and over 5 rushing, or over 5 yards per carry, and then he also had a really good game in the receiving work as well. So I haven't officially taken that, but that is something that I like. And then other than that, like I'm kind of with you. Like I expect, even though the quarterbacks have the name value, I expect this to be more of a slog than the other ones.
Yeah, I really do, which is unfortunate, but I think it's going to be a nasty game.
Yeah, I agree. And I will ride with Reek. I like the Trent Sherfield angle for plus 950. I think is crazy. So I will ride with him. I'll put a quarter unit on that. It's $25 to win 237.
And what? That's on FanDuel.
That's on FanDuel.
Oh God.
So
okay, 950.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think, and like I like the angle there. So if it's like, I don't think it's going to be Diggs, and if it's not Josh Allen rushing one in, like Kincaid's a good value at plus 290, and he's good value at. I mean, 950 is crazy. 950 is what you get for like the Chiefs' third string tight end. Like Noah Gray.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad angle. That's not even inconceivable. It's just I don't know, man. It's hard to see without Cook or Allen just forcing one in at the goal line. I'm just like, I don't know who they're it's just going to be somebody random stepping up, basically. So,
Trent Sherfield's as random as it gets.
I mean, look at this. This is what I'm saying. I'm not sure that I want to take these, but I'm just throwing it out there for people to consider. Like when you're looking on the Bills side, it's like Deontay Hardy is like his receiving line is 5.5 yards. They're like, can Deontay Hardy catch one pass? Like that's what they're asking of him. Like Sherfield over basically 9.5 yards. I mean, it's like, can he catch a pass? It's like it's like these lines are
Shakir. What's Shakir at? Like probably
Shakir,
like 12.
I think he's probably pumped up a little because he had a few big games until his stinker. He didn't do much last time, but let me see. Where is he at? Where are you, Shakir? Why am I not seeing him?
Do they not have it? Sometimes they just don't have props out.
No, he should be here. I could have sworn I saw him.
Khalil Shakir is 32.5.
32.5. Not that high either.
Yeah, it's higher than I would have thought.
Yeah. Usually it's like 20 something. It's usually, but
yeah. So, and the last thing that I'll say, and I haven't put anything on this, but Travis Kelce anytime touchdown, which I know has not been good this year. FanDuel has that at plus 135.
Oh God.
And then just compare that to the other books. Caesars plus 105, Bet Rivers plus 100, and then ESPN Bet is plus 120, DraftKings plus 125 are kind of close. But with the injuries to the middle of the field for the Chiefs, or for the Bills, for the Bills, if there's ever going to be a time in which Travis Kelce scores, this is probably it.
Oh God.
So I just want to I have not put anything on it. I just wanted to bring that up and engage your thoughts. Are you ready to get hurt again?
Oh, yes, I guess. I mean, because it's value and it's the playoffs. I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. I think Kelce got more receiving yards than I would have expected last game, which to me tells you he's willing to do whatever he can, work up his mojo, shoot up some testosterone, whatever it is. But to, like you said, get it up for the playoffs. And he surprised me. I didn't even think he was going to cross that threshold. What did he get? Like 60 something? I could be wrong. I mean, my memory's up.
Something like that. Yeah.
60 something yards. I'm like, in my head, it was going to be another clunky 30 something yards. And he surpassed it by a decent amount. So I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, I think it's maybe us to consider for like, one of our parlays that we'll do in a minute here, but like maybe since neither of us were on him as like a single play, we won't be double dipping. We won't be screwing ourselves because of Pacheco or Josh Allen TDs. Maybe he's the other square that we throw into like a parlay maybe. And then we spread our risk over a few different TD people. So.
I think I might still take it by myself.
Straight up. Yeah.
I might. But I kind of like this idea from someone whose name I don't want to totally butcher, Yash Fansakar. What if we do a tight end parlay? We do Kincaid, Otten, Laporta, and Kelsey.
Yeah.
A tight end parlay. I'm curious what the odds on that would be, because FanDuel is giving us pretty good odds on these touchdowns. So let's see what we got. If so, we do Kincaid, Laporta, and then Cade Otten. Those 4 is plus 7,000.
That's a lot.
So
that's a lot.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, plus 7,000 odds. It's $10 to win 700 on a tight end parlay.
Oh God, let's see.
Kittle had a day yesterday. Isaiah Likely scored. The Green Bay guy scored. Not Musgrave, but the other one.
Kraft.
It was Kraft. Yeah, Tucker Kraft scored. I kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it saves us some effort. I mean, we instead of brainstorming here, I mean, I think we got. Let me see. So Samuel Laporta, Cade Otten. Yeah, you're right. Jeez, man.
I'm putting $5 on that. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. That's hard. 4 touchdowns. I'll do 5. Yeah, I'll do $5. That's a lot of touchdowns you need, but
yeah.
But I don't hate it.
Yeah, and then we could do a chalk one with Gibbs and Pacheco, and then maybe Josh Allen.
Let's see here.
Although that you might have to do on ESPN bet, because FanDuel is not giving you that great odds. Let's both find out.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna make a variation of the tight end one we just talked about here. So I'll be independently working on this real quick. For this.
Okay, I did take that the 4-1. I put $5 on it just to
I put $5 on it as well.
Okay, all right.
I'm coming up with a non-TD tight end variation.
I see. Yeah. I like it. All right, so let me compare the odds between FanDuel and ESPN bet. So we're doing just a chalk one. Gibbs, Pacheco, and Josh Allen. Let's see, Pacheco, Josh Allen. So yeah, ESPN bet get way better odds on that. ESPN bet for that chalk parlay, Gibbs, Pacheco, Josh Allen is plus 778.
Gibbs, Pacheco, and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's not bad.
Yeah. So I haven't placed that, but that's just, I mean, we could do like a tight end parlay, a chalk parlay.
Yeah. Here's a variation of that tight end parlay. So $5 on the 4 TDs, which I know is kind of absurd, but here's one. Let me read it off to you, and you tell me last leg so that you have 2 parallel tight end parlays. The massive 7,004 tight ends. This one I think is doable. Okay, Sammy Laporta, 40 yards. Okay. So not close to, a little under his expected his line, but 40 yards for Laporta. 25 for Otten, which is pretty close to his main line.
Yeah.
Okay. Kincaid for 40, which is just like 1.5 yards above, or 1 yard, half a yard, or 1.5 yards above his line. So those 3. So Laporta 40, Kincaid 40, Otten 25. Okay. Then if you add Kelsey, this is where I want you to chime in. Kelsey at 40 brings you at 554.
It's not bad.
Kelsey at 50, 654.
Okay, so 40 was what? Say that again.
So Kelsey at 40, 554 odds. Kelsey at 50, 654 odds.
So 10 yards is basically 100 cents of juice. I would probably go the safer one. I'd probably do the 500, the 40 yards for 500.
Okay, here. So Kincaid, Kelsey, Laporta, all at 40, and Otten at 25. So alt lines, and that brings you to 554.
It's not terrible. I kind of like that. So Kincaid, Kelsey, and Laporta all for 40.
All for 40. Alt receiving lines on FanDuel. All for 40. And then Otten's the only one not at 40. Otten's at 25.
I like it. It's not tight. It's not National Tight End Day. So, but I mean, the tight ends played well yesterday, and this isn't that crazy. Plus
not
5.
crazy. Not crazy.
All right. I'll ride. So that's 3 parlays that we have. It's the touchdown parlay with the same 4 Cotton. I almost said Cotton. Cade Otten, Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid, and Travis Kelsey. The chalk anytime touchdown parlay, which is Josh Allen, Pacheco, and Gibbs. And then the tight end yards parlay, which was 40 for each of Laporta, Kelsey, and Kincaid, and then 25 for Otten.
Yep. Yep.
I like it. I mean, that feels like all three are going to hit. It's going to be really frustrating when it's like we get all three of the other ones, and then it's a Dawson Knox game. Like that's going to be
Dawson Knox for 72 yards.
Yeah, that's going to be the frustrating thing. But cool. All right. Awesome. Well, any FanDuel specials, any game specials, anything else that you have for today, or are we good to go?
Nah. I was looking around. I couldn't find much. I mean, there's a few. There's whoever, if you want to, it made me nervous, but if there's a few juicy ones out there, I'm debating, like, I don't think Montgomery's going to be able to accumulate much, but if you think that he can, like, they have a juicy one for like him to get 25 rushing yards in each half. It's somewhere in the plus 200s, but that's risky. I don't know.
Yeah,
There weren't too many that stood out for me. So, nothing. I'm not going to force some long shots. So yeah, there weren't too many game specials that I like. So there were a lot of those like combo passing TD things, but the late game is what scares me. I think that's what's going to screw you in those, like Josh Allen plus Mahomes plus Baker, like 6 passing touchdowns. I think the late game, it's going to be Pacheco, Allen, Cook. Like I worry that the late game won't add to that tally. Like we hit the tally last time with the like Rams Lions combos, and so this week I just don't know. The late game to me is a huge enigma. Will there even be passing TDs? I think there's gonna be a lot of rushing TDs today. So
what about for plus 3,000 odds? This probably isn't even worth it, but Jahmyr Gibbs 50 plus rushing yards in each half.
Oh, that's hard. That's hard.
3,000
plus 3,000. Okay.
Even 3,000, I'm not sure is even that great for that, to be honest with you.
You know what? Here's one. This is a legit one. I forgot about this. I forgot to jot this down. If you go to FanDuel, and we should probably reference DraftKings as a comparison. Let's talk about this before we sign off here.
Okay.
This is one of those, like, it's not a true arbitrage, right? But it's like, it could be a pseudo arb. It's rushing leaders for the game.
Oh yeah. Okay.
In the game for the first one.
So the game, not for the day.
No, not for the day. It's just rushing leader of that game in the Bucs Lions game. I think we could both agree. I don't see Rachaad White tearing up rushing yards, right?
Jahmyr Gibbs is plus 220.
I wanted to point that out to you because I said there.
The only thing with Gibbs is it might be a receiving day. That's the thing.
So what I was going to ask you though is, I know it sucks to have to lose some money, but it's like, if you are like, I don't see the Bucs running the ball, both are plus money, meaning like Monty plus Gibbs. I just don't think there's enough of a differential you could bet both to like make it worth your while, because then you're really doubly screwing yourself. But I don't see the Bucs out rushing Gibbs or Monty, to be honest with you. So I feel like you could, if you're just like, if you are a Detroit faithful and you're like, Rachaad White's not going to run on us, like, you could technically figure out the odds on an arbitrage calculator. And it's not an arbitrage, but like you could kind of try to equal it out a little, bet a little on each one to hope that you come out ahead. But I would say maybe Gibbs has the value just to go with Gibbs, like, because you're betting on 4 people. It's like, it's a 1 out of 4 chance.
So here, I think I found the winner. Most rushing plus receiving yards of the Bucs Lions game, Jahmyr Gibbs.
How much? That's
plus
even better.
Plus 420.
Oh, okay.
So the leader in the category is Amon-Ra at plus 250, because he could have 150.
Yeah, he might get 100. He might get 100 something. Yeah, I could see.
Yeah, that. So he could kill that. Kill that. But the next best one is Rachaad White at plus 360, which we're both out on, because I don't think he's gonna rush for a lot. So then it's Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, if he has 75 rushing and receiving yards, like I don't think that's crazy. I don't know. I'm probably too high on Gibbs, but I don't think that there's a better matchup for Jahmyr Gibbs than this matchup against the Bucs.
Yeah,
so
that's
plus
not
420.
That's not
to
bad.
Lead most to have the most rushing plus receiving yards.
That's not bad.
The only thing that I want to check is can we do that for the day as opposed to just for the game? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen the combo for the leader of the day. I think I've only seen it as like
like
the game only.
Yeah, that's what I was. Okay, yeah, there's nothing there. That just got bet up. It's at plus 430 now, so it's even better odds.
Basically, he's probably going to compete against Amon-Ra. I mean, right?
Yes, between him. So maybe we
that-
take both. Maybe we take both. It's kind of like you say, a pseudo arbitrage. But I probably will actually put this on we don't have to make it an official play. I'll put 30 on it, like basically a third of a unit.
Yeah. But I wanted to point that, you even found a slightly better, juicier angle, it sounds like. But I found it odd that, like, he was boosted up so much in positive odds for limited choices too of who you can even pick.
Yeah,
as a
it's
leader, so
like, what you're getting with the Lions. So, and if we don't think that anybody on the Bucs, like, it's Evans is more of a touchdown than a crazy yards guy. So, all right. I put 35 to win 150 on that. So I did lock that in. If people want to ride with me, they can.
Nice.
But cool. All right. Well, anything left? Are we good?
I'm good. I'm just excited for that first game, and I'm glad it's early in the day. So
yeah. 3 Eastern, 1 Mountain Time. Awesome. Well, all right. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This is definitely one of our more watched streams, which is awesome. Pretty active chat, which I always appreciate. Only a couple more, 2 more NFL weekends, which is not great. Hopefully we can stream next week. I have some friends visiting in town, so I have to think about my schedule and then get back to you. But either way, let's win all our bets today, then we'll worry about next week. For next week, I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we are signing off.